Hello, good morning. Happy Tuesday. I'm working from home today. Lisa is still sickly, so I said, well, if you ain't going in, I ain't going in, because I can just go check the mail, right? Mail. You know, sometimes my accent just amazes me, you know? That ain't putting on, that's for real. I try to speak more clearly, less southern. It just, whatever, it don't happen. Hello plane, you're awfully low flying. Y'all didn't get to see it, oh well. So look, I got so tickled last night at my own stupidity, I guess you could say. I mean, it was, okay, so you have to understand, when you're talking to Phoenix asks you questions like, she asked Trina why she had a gap in her teeth. She asked you, like, why is Penny black and white? I mean, you know, like, the first grade mind. She's asking very simple questions. So when she asked me this question, I went on a very simple level with her, which ended up to be hilarious to me because of the look on her face, okay? She asked me, what's a country name that's real long? I went very basic. I said, well, I mean, I don't know. My aunt's name's Geraldine. That's pretty long. The look on her face, she was like, huh? No, like a country. I said, oh, a country. Oh, a country. Not a country name, but a country. The name of a country that is very long. Okay. Well, the longest. Whatever. Okay, so I was thinking one word, right? Whatever. I said, oh, well, Czechoslovakia. And she was like, look at my hair. Good Lord. Is that what they call a cowlick? Me licking my fingers, not that. I definitely have a cowlick, but it's back there. Okay, well, anyway. She was like, no. I was like, well, then I don't know. I don't really know a country name that is longer than Czechoslovakia. So then I'm trying to think of other countries. And y'all, this child who says she can't read, I pull up on the Google the country with the longest name, and when it came up, she goes, yeah, United Kingdom of Britain. I said, and Scotland, whatever it said, it was really long, but it was, you know, like 5 words or something. And I was trying to think of one word, so whatever. Anyway, I was like, how did you just read that? How did you know what that said if you can't read? Huh, Phoenix? But as it turns out, her mom has had her in some heavy-duty reading classes. I don't know, they're working extra with her at the school for reading, and she's going to go to summer school, which Naomi laughed at her when her mom said she was going to summer school. She was like, oh, you're going to summer school. And her mom said, keep it up and you'll go with her. And she was like, but Mom, I make really good grades. And she goes, okay, and if you're going to laugh at her, you're going to go with her. And she was like, I ain't saying another word. So yeah, Phoenix has to go to summer school. But I told her, I said, look, if you don't learn to read, that's like the basic thing you have to learn everything else. And I said, you keep going around saying, I can't. Can't never could, okay? She didn't like that statement either. She was like, huh? I said, it means if you keep saying you can't, you will never learn. You have to say, I can do this. That's been my problem my whole life, because I've always just thought I could do anything, you know? if I put my mind to it, I can do anything. And that has led me to getting hurt physically. I don't mean emotionally or mentally. I mean physically. I'll be like, I can do that. Sometimes I don't realize that I have limitations. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, the country, a name, a country name. What'd she say? I forgot how she worded it. Anyway, Geraldine. That's a long country name, isn't it? Geraldine. Who knew she was talking about an actual country? I didn't even know Phoenix knew there were countries. You know what I'm saying? Because you just don't get that kind of talk out of her. But apparently that she is learning, okay? Hey. And then she was telling me how to structure a word, like the A in the middle and the E at the end, and she was drawing arrows over, and I was like, I don't think I ever learned that. That's cool, though. I mean, I knew how to read. My mom said I don't know if it's because I had older siblings that were showing me, but she said, you just knew how to read and write at a very early age. And she said, no, I don't think anybody really taught you. You just did it. And I was like, because I'm a savant. Not really. I'm a savant. An idiot savant. That's probably never been said about me ever, but anyway, I'll be back, okay? Okay. I just read online that statement I just said about being a savant is offensive to some people, so my apologies, but I just thought it meant you were highly skilled in one area, which is what it means, but I didn't know it was offensive. It's too hard to keep up. Okay, the second thing I want to tell you about Phoenix is, a lot of you may not get this, but there's a phrase on TikTok from a girl who said, you just got to spit on it and hawk to her, okay? Hawk to her, which means she's spitting, okay? And, Phoenix was trying to sing a song last night called Hop to It. Hop to It, okay? It's that music, hop music. Anyway, they say hop to it or something. I don't know. She was trying to say hop to it, and she kept saying hop to her. And finally, Naomi was like, it's not hop to her, Phoenix. You shouldn't be saying things that you don't know what it means. And I was like, how does Naomi know what it means? She watches way too much TikTok. You know what I'm saying? That child is advanced way beyond her 10 years. But Phoenix was like, hop to her, hop to her. Anyway, I was like, stop saying that, because you really don't know what it means. And if y'all don't know what it means, you can just Google it, because I'm not telling you, okay? I'm not going that far down. I'll be back, okay? Okay. But I will say, in Naomi's defense, I was probably the same age when my next door neighbor told me about something, a BJ, okay, a BJ. I was probably Naomi's age, and I was like, what is that? And she said, go ask your brother, who was pulling up in the driveway. And I ran over and I said, what's a BJ? And he was like, huh? Go ask Mom. And I was like, okay. So I go running in the house, and I was like, Mom, Kelly's talking about a BJ. What does that mean? She was like, she said, it's something that some married couples do. Some married couples do. So you don't need to worry about it right now. And I was like, oh, okay. And I went back out, and Kelly said, did your brother tell you? And I said, no, my mother told me. I really didn't know, but I pretended like I did, which has been, I told somebody at the sheriff's office, she came to this country when she was 12 years old, and she learned to speak English listening to rap music, believe it or not. And Yeah. And she was working in the office with me, and she said, sometimes I don't understand what they're talking about, but I laugh with them. And I said, girl, I did the same thing, because I was like, what are they talking about? But I was too embarrassed to ask what they were talking about. So then I would go ask somebody else who I trusted, who would just tell me without laughing at me. I said, so you can come ask me and I'll tell you what they're talking about. So she would come to me and ask me questions like, what does Haktua mean? And I'd be like, oh, dear Jesus, well, here's what it means. I mean, it wasn't Haktua back then, but you know what I'm saying. Because, some, you need to, I mean, if they're of adult age, and, just give it needs to be explained, okay? It needs to be explained, and so she understands it, so she's not like Phoenix running around saying it all the time, and she has no clue. But I'm not explaining it to Phoenix. That's not my job, man. No, that's not my job to explain that to Phoenix. And I'm not even going to ask Naomi how she knows or what she thinks it means, because I don't want to go there, okay? I just don't. I'm going to stay in my little bubble, in my little world, and pretend that everything is sunshine and roses out there, okay? Not really. I worked at a jail too long to realize that it's sunshine and roses, but anyway, I'll be back. Well, here we are at the end of the day. I hope you had a good day. I had a good day. I sat here and worked and went to the office and got the mail. It was very exciting. So, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to please like, if you will, comment. I would love to read your comments. And I will talk to you on the next one. Remember, I love you. Jesus loves you. We hope he's coming back soon, because I'm a savant. And I will talk to you on the next one, okay?